Good guys, welcome to my BM Hunter guide. Today we'll be going over talents, gear, races, comps, rotation, what pets you can have, utility, and I'm going to go over some gameplay examples. If you find any value from this video, make sure to leave it a like and subscribe, and hope you enjoy. So this is the talents you're going to want to pick. On the right side, you're not going to want to touch this at all. I copied this build from like rank ones. All of them are using like the same build. They're using Envenom Fangs, they're using Pack Leader. Dark Ranger is kind of like dog water. I wish it was good. It's a lot of fun and it's tanky, but Pack Leader has 2 million kill command crits, which is pretty insane with how old Pack Leader. So it's kind of hard to give that up. You want to go Slick Shoes. When disengage removes a movement impairing effect, its cooldown is reduced by 4 seconds. That is very nice. Venom Fangs is actually a lot of burst. And on the left side, you do have like 1 or 2 flex talents. The other flex talent you can have is right here. So it's either Scrappy or Keen Eyesight, depending on if you want less utility or less damage. I like to have double stun. It depends on what you're fighting though. I do like to take this out if I'm fighting something with high damage, just put it into here. If you're fighting a Wrestler Druid or a Prez, something with a lot of hots, you can take this right here to just purge hots on like pretty much on cooldown. If you're fighting a Priest that can fear your pets, you can get out of that fear just by men padding with this one right here. If you're fighting a DK or a Shadow Priest or a Rogue, then you put this right here. Now for the PvP talents, Chimeral Sting, lock this in every single time. Survival Tactics, lock that in every single time, it's very good. And this is your flex talent. So this is bad, this is bad. Like, you don't ever take these, you don't take Interlope, Hunting Pack. You don't ever take this. Diamond Eyes can be decent with if you end up trapping the kill target. If you trap them low, it can be like a Cyclone low, or for peels it could be decent, but most of the time I just like it on the healer. This did get nerfed. It was 5 seconds zone. This used to be a perma lock-in pretty much last season, but because of the change where Freezing Trap doesn't like break on immediate damage, like you don't really need to take it anymore, so you can just have a full trap. So instead I take Kindred Beast when I'm fighting a melee, and then anything else I do the Beast Within to get fear immunity and a little bit more damage. So Kindred Beast is kind of interesting because if you have a pet with a Primal Rage, before the arena starts, you can dismiss your pet at like 2 or 1 seconds left before the arena starts, and then Bloodlust, and then call your cunning pets, and then you can stealth and then get into battle, and then you'll reset the cooldown on Master's Call. Now, it doesn't really work with the Beast Within, but make sure to do that with Kindred Beast, because I believe in arena it's 12% haste, which is very nice, and it works on your allies too, so highly recommend that. Alright, so I'm redoing this section because I didn't really agree with the gearing part of it. Don't copy this character's gear because I have to restat it. But you want 20% haste, then dump the rest into mastery. You don't really need crit. You get a lot from your talents, so don't do anything there. The only crit that I have is just from tier. And obviously you want some verse. You want the haste trinket. And then you want legs. You want headpiece, shoulders, and chest for your tier. Those give you the best stats. And then you want crafted pieces for everything that is not tier, and have that be versatility, and then either haste or mastery, whatever gets you to that point of 20% haste, or the rest mastery. So for gems, you can either do mastery and haste gems, or you could do versatility, and if you want like more tankiness, so it's really up to you, but I like having the more damage. For back piece, you want Chant of Burrowing Rapidity. For chest, you want Crystalline Radiance. For bracers enchant, you want 1000 speed. For your weapon, you want authority of radiant power. For legs, you want agility and stamina. For feet, you want Scout's March. And for ring, either versatility or whatever stats you need. I'm probably gonna switch this to haste, this enchant, because I need more haste. And then for the gem, the main gem, you want primary stat and 5% damage reduction when affected by crowd control, and that is the gearing. Alright, for your BIS races, I would recommend, if you're going to go Alliance, first is going to be Night Elf. The Shadow Meld is very nice. It gives you like an extra defensive, pretty much. An extra feign death. You can feign death, Chaos Bolt, and completely immune it. Let's say a ret is about to hodge you. You can literally just immune it, which is crazy. If someone's casting something, you can immune it. If you're low, it can literally save your life. It's nice. Human is nice as well, because a get out of jail free card by the racial. So what I recommend, if you do run human, is that you'd want to use your human racial first to get out of stun, and then you want to use your trinket. Gnome can be a little bit decent for kiting because of escape artist, but I don't think it's good as these other races. Now for the horde, orc is the best. I would recommend orc just anyways, because you get 1% damage on all your pets, and you get stun reduction, which I think is only 10%. But the thing is, let's say you're fighting a sub-rogue, that sub-rogue isn't going to get an extra global in when it's doing a stun lock. Otherwise, he's going to gap it, which gives you, if he does gap it, you can just feign death and you're just going to survive, or turtle, and you're going to be completely fine. So it's really insane. Also, you get more damage on your burst, so you can just macro that in with your cooldowns, with the extra main stat. The other thing is Troll, a racial ability where you can get haste. It is a little bit longer cooldown than the orc, and it's not as good. But if you want more haste, then you could definitely do that. Also, they have a racial where you have roots and slows that last shorter, which is kind of nice. So that's pretty much the only ones that I'd recommend for BM Hunter. However, races don't really matter all that much. Like, you can play whatever you want and you can succeed. Like, it really doesn't matter, like, for races as much as it used to. So for the rotation, it's pretty much a priority system. It is one of the easiest rotations in the game. But there is some nuance to it. There is some min-maxing that you can do. The main thing is to keep up your frenzy stacks, and what that is when you barb shot, it stacks up to 3 times, which increases the attack speed of your pets. So in the opener, what you want to do is you want to Dire Beast, because it gives you haste. Also, it gives you, if you cast Dire Beast 3 times, it gives you either 8% damage or a dot and 8% haste, which is insane. Also, you get Kill Command, can summon a Dire Beast as well, which I'm pretty sure that goes towards that. Okay, so you get that haste going, you get that on cooldown first, right? Let me go over to the cleave so I can better demonstrate the rotation. So you get Dire Beast out, and then you want to barb shot one target, barb shot the other, because this also gives you focus as well, and it gives you crit chance up to 3 seconds because of this talent right here. And then once you have that, you want to Kill Command twice. If you have a proc for Kill Shot, use it. And then you want to Bestial Wrath, Blood Fury. You want to Call the Wild, and then Kill Command, Barb Shot, Kill Command, Kill Command, Kill Shot, They are based on cooldown, and then you want to prioritize kill command over barb shot if you have it. And because it just does more damage and has procs that go with it. And unless you have, if your stacks are about to fall off of Frenzy, prioritize barb shot every single time. This is a proc that does a lot of damage. So when your kill command lights up, what that is, let me get out of combat here. Jesus. Alright, so it is Howl the Pack Leader. Every 25 seconds, the next kill command comes to the aid. With the Beast, the Wyvern give you 10% damage of you and your pets. The Boar just does AoE damage. And then the Bear does the proc of the Envenom Fangs I was talking about earlier, where it consumes you Serpent Sting. It's AoE damage and does a lot of burst. And the Bear can crit up to like 2 million, which is pretty insane. And casting Bestial Wrath also resets this cooldown on it immediately. So let's say you get a proc. Let's say the 25 seconds is up. Well, it is 25 seconds with this, and also your pets gain 5% attack power by it. Let's say you get a proc, and Bestial Wrath is on cooldown. But, so you want to kill command first. If kill command is not ready yet, and you still have a Bestial Wrath, you want to barb shot to get it back, or cobra shot to get it back, because cobra shot resets the cooldown on kill command. Then you want to use your proc, and then you want a Bestial Wrath, so that way you get a lot of bursts lined up, and you don't waste your proc. So you get a lot of damage in a short amount of window, and you have to do it. Also, kill shot. Kill shot is AoE too, and it does like a ton of damage. The reason why you want to barb shot multiple people, not only is for focus regen and to multi-dot, is because you get Serpent Sting on multiple people, and it's just nice for spread pressure, especially like what you're fighting. Another thing to keep in mind is Call of the Wild resets the cooldown on barb shot and kill command, and since Bestial Wrath sends out a barb shot that can reset kill command anyways, you want to use kill command twice before using Call of the Wild. So you want to kill command, like I was saying before, and this is the reason why you want to do it. Have no charges of it. That just reset it. That reset it again. Now you're back to 2 charges, and you could do a lot of damage that way, and it's not a waste. You definitely want to Bestial Wrath on cooldown, Call of the Wild on cooldown, but like I was saying, you want to use your proc first before Bestial Wrath, and you don't need to Blood Fury on cooldown. Just use that with Bestial Wrath or Call of the Wild. And that's pretty much it. Like, the rotation is like extremely simple. Like, let's say you don't have anything left to press, like this, then you just reset it with a Cobra Shot, and then you kill command. If you run out of focus, you could just Tranquilizing Shot or kick something, and then it will just like give you like 10 focus because of this talent right here, Disruptive Wounds. But because barb shot resets the cooldown on a kill command, you want to normally kill command first, unless it's in the opener, or let's say your frenzy stacks are about to fall off, based on either the cooldown or if you like get CC'd, and then just prioritize that because it does take a little bit of time to like stack up, and 90% attack speed on your pets is actually insane. So that's why you want to like have uptime of frenzy stacks 100% of the game. Otherwise you're missing out on so much damage. Definitely have a Weakauras for frenzy stacks too. I have the Weakauras package of skill capped, and it just has this right here. I can just link that in the description if you guys want me to. And it has like other stuff too, like It has like shows when lust is up. It shows when your wall is up. It shows when you have PI, and it shows the duration of your bestial wrath. I'd also recommend like having a men pet cooldown, or a men pet weakaura. When your pet gets low, it's kind of difficult to see. And my pet was like dying a lot before I had this weakaura, and it just like glows when it's I think it's when it's at like 40%. No, it's 50%. Yeah, so, and then another thing that I did was where is it? Edit mode. You go to edit mode, then you can have your pet frame here, and then if you click on your pet frame, you can increase the size of it. So like it was 100%, and it's way too small. Like I couldn't see like my pet's health. So I just increased it to like 150 size, and I put it into a place where it's like a lot easier to see. And I definitely recommend doing that. Otherwise, like if your pet dies, bro, you're not gonna do any damage at all. And sometimes you have to like turtle to get your pet back, otherwise you're gonna get stopped, and it's just a headache. So just make sure to never let your pet die by men petting when you get that weakaura pop up. Another thing is exhilaration will actually heal your pet. If you're in Dark Ranger, where is it? If Dark Ranger ever becomes good and viable, this exhilaration grants you 3 seconds of survival of the fittest. Survival of the fittest grants exhilaration at 50% effectiveness. If you ever do Dark Ranger, you could just survival of the fittest when your pet is about to die, and then it will heal it. But with pack leader, you're gonna have to exhilaration. If your pet is about to die and you know that men pet is not gonna save it, it actually sometimes is worth it to exhilarate. It's kind of rare. Like usually you can save your pet if you're like on top of it, especially with this weakaura. But you know, sometimes you have to bite the bullet and save your pet that way. Otherwise, you can just go behind a pillar, and you might get lucky, but yeah, you're gonna have a rough time otherwise. So positioning, what you want to do is you want to be, there's two things you could do. You can either be by a pillar and just peek out a little bit just to do damage, or let's say this is a healer, you could just stay on the healer, and then you could get traps easier, and it's more unpredictable, and you can get kicks easier, and it's more unpredictable. So it depends on what your playstyle is. What I like doing is I like being by a pillar and then just going in for a trap. It is a little bit predictable to know when you're gonna trap, so just be careful of fades. You might need to like wait it out and see if they fade or not. So just be careful of that. Alright, so the comps that you can play really varies. I haven't tried all the comps. I'm just gonna like tell you what's like good based on what I've tried. Jungle is pretty much the best comp that you're gonna play. It's really insane. Feral has insane damage, insane CC. It's one of the best classes in the game, and it has really good synergy with a Fear DR that's spammable. And they could just cyclone off your traps. They could cyclone appeal. It's just insane. So something to be careful of is just scattering off bleeds. If you need to scatter trap, just make sure that they're not like they don't have any dots on them. But the setups in jungle is very nice. Cupid is a good comp as well. It's viable, especially now that Rep got buffed. And the utility of Ret is pretty nice with Sack, Bop, Bubble, all that jazz, Freedom. KFC is a decent comp. Warrior has a lot of damage. Arm just got buffed. Arms and Fury also has like a lot of utility. I don't think as much as Ret, but like it's pretty good. The weakness of playing KFC is that like the warrior's gonna have a lot of trouble with uptime, especially when like fighting mages, and a lot of the times you're gonna want to go a mage as a hunter, just because you counter them, and you kind of have to play around the warrior. Like, you can make it work, you can make the comp work, but just playing around the warrior, just keep that in mind, that it's something you have to do. Like, you can't hit certain targets, like he's probably not going to keep up with a devastation evoker, right? So you'd have to like go something else, right? A thug cleave with the rogue is actually not bad. I'd recommend playing with like an assassin rogue, because they have a silence, and they can like multi-dot, and I feel like they have probably the most damage. And I think damage is really important in arena. You might be able to play with like a shadow priest. I haven't tried it yet. That's called scatter play. That's something you could do. You could play with the shaman. Beast cleave is a thing with the enhanced shaman. I don't know how good it is. I haven't played it. You could play with an Ellie as well. Devastation evoker might be also one of your best comps. I can't say for how good it is, but devastation evoker has a ton of damage. So the damage of Beastmastery Hunter with the Mortal Strike, with the damage, and spammable Fear DR, now with 11.1 of Devastation Evoker, is going to be a very strong comp. So those are the comps that I would recommend. So for pets, when you go over to Dornergal, you can go over to the Kargan guy, and you could change the spec of your pet. So cunning is like the freedom. You're going to be running this like 90% of the time. Ferocity, you're never going to want to run this in arena unless it's just for the opener, like I said earlier, and then swap to your cunning. Tenacity is just your tank pet, gives you more health. So tenacity, you can run this into like RMP, with like setup comps, something that has like a lot of bursts that you know you're gonna get like one shot. You can use this. You don't even need to use that in order to climb, but like if you find yourself dying versus some teams like very fast, like you could do that. I would just recommend always have a pet that has a Mortal Strike on it. If you want to know about different pets that have a Mortal Strike effect, just go to WoW Petopia, and then this site can just tell you like all the different pets that you can get like in the entire game, which is very nice. And then you just go to talents and skills, and then you go over to mortal wounds, this right here, and then you could just pick from any of these like raptor, scorpion, wasp, rodent, river beast, and things don't matter anymore for like cunning or ferocity, because they changed that in 11.1 right now, which is, I'm glad they did, so you have a lot more freedom. But yeah, definitely go to that website if you don't know what pet to get for Mortal Strike, and hopefully that helps. Alright, so for utility, this is going to be important because Hunter has a lot of utility. I forgot to go over this earlier, but since this is kind of utility, I'll go over it now. In the opener, what you want to do is you want to intim stun, intimidation, and then you want to trap. And then you can even, depends on how close you are, if you're like really close, you can actually just fit in a global onto your main target that you're going to go. If you don't, and then that's your opener, right? Depends, like if you're playing Thug, then if they sap, then you could intim off that, or trap off that into an intim, just for a little bit extra CC chain. And then past the first go, you could binding shot into trap after they walk into it. If they're not walking into it, then you could literally just high explosive trap, so to make them like go out of it, and then you trap. If you don't have that, then you could scatter into trap. If you don't have that, then you can tar trap into trap. Now, if you don't have any of that stuff, then concussive shot into trap, right? Just to slow it so it's easier to get. Yeah, so for peeling, what you want to do is you want to scatter. As long as you're not scattering bleeds off, as long as you're not scattering the kill target, scatter the off target, which is, I think is very good. When people are getting low, or if someone is like popping a cooldown, right? And it's especially good if you have binding shackles for the 10% less damage they do to you. You can even like intim as long as it's not DR. Like you never want to DR something unless it's like they already pressed something and you're DRing off. But let's say if it's like 10 seconds left and you're playing with a feral and you intim stun the kill target, like that's just not good because you're gonna have to wait for the entire DR 20 seconds later for them to stun again for full duration. So just be careful of that. Make sure you have either Gladius X, or S Arena as an add-on to track DRs. Gladius X I use because it also tracks cooldowns under the plates near the DRs. Also, in the opener, like I was saying, you want to focus intim into a trap, and then Chimeral Sting takes 3 seconds to go off. So then 3 seconds left on the freezing trap, you want to focus Chimeral Sting, and then that's like 10 seconds of CC or something. 12 seconds. Yeah, it's a lot of CC. You can lock down a healer a lot just by yourself. If you're kiting, or if you have a teammate that is like trying to kite a melee, something you could do is you could root and then freedom. You could also freedom your teammate, of course, which is Master's Call. So freedom them, root them. You could slow them with concussive shot, which has a 5-second cooldown. And Cobra Shot will increase the duration of concussive shot, but don't worry about that. And then you could also high explosive trap off them. Another thing you could do is you can explosive trap healers behind pillars, or people behind pillars out of line of their healers, so they cannot get healed. Purging, tranquilizing shot. Not only is it good for getting focus, but it's also good for utility. So let's say somebody pops power infusion, you could just purge the PI. If you have Omni CC, the add-on, then you could just tell on right here on their nameplates, you see where the hunter sign is, that will show the icon of PI, and you can just know when to purge it. Purge HOTS as well, depending on what you're fighting. If you're fighting a Resto Druid or a Preservation Evoker, sometimes it's good against a Mistweaver too. Kind of want to purge on cooldown unless they're getting low, then you could just do damage. Sometimes it's good to do that instead. Let's say you're fighting a Paladin and they have Blessing of Protection, you just purge Bop. You're not going to get it all the time just because it's a 10-second cooldown, but it's like a lot of the time you're actually going to get it, right? Also, for kicks, you should have a kick 1, 2, 3 macro, a focus kick, and what I'd recommend is I have this kick macro has cancel aspect of the turtle. Because let's say you turtle and you want to kick something, you have to like cancel turtle and you have to click it off. But I just click the macro twice and then I just kick them. So you want to kick pretty much on cooldown. Depends on what it is. You would want to prioritize like CC, like cyclones or heals. Also, another macro is this kill command macro. I have this on different abilities, but you really only need it on kill command as /petattack because, pet UI is kind of buggy. And also if you're in CC, you could just spam the ability and make sure that they're on that. Startattack for your auto attack. Savage Rend, which is your Mortal Strike, because it's not like it does do it on cooldown, but not exactly. So this makes sure it's like on point on cooldown. Claw, which is the basic attack, and then kill command. Obviously, I'll have this in the description as well. The enemies are stacked, then you could just binding shot, and then that is a lot of CC because it's just going to CC all of them. Let's say you're playing PhDK with a Death Knight, which is better with a Unholy, is what I found. When they grip them in and blind, they don't really have a stun if they're like going silence. So when they grip them in and blind, you just binding shot on them. You could do that versus melees. You could do that. You could binding shot when you're kiting as well, because they'll also activate the binding shackles. And then you could just binding shot into concussive shot. You could chain stuff together. You could binding shot, concussive shot. When they reach you, high explosive trap. When they reach you again, tar trap. And then you could, if they slow you, disengage. And then if they slow you again, then Master's Call. You have a lot of options. You could also aspect to the cheetah too. When you're starting an arena, you obviously want to start in stealth. If you need more speed, you can just like disengage. And then Aurora Sacrifice is pretty good, man. And then the other utility you have is Aurora Sacrifice. A lot of the times you're gonna want to like use this on your teammates when they're not necessarily when they're getting low, but when they're about to take a lot of damage. Like let's say they get kidney shotted, they're probably gonna take a lot of damage, right? So you want to Aurora Sacrifice them high, because let's say you Aurora Sacrifice them at 10%. This is not a wall. This is just a thing that makes them immune to crits, and it puts it onto your pet, right? So it's not gonna save them, right? If it's at 10%, because they can still do damage, but it does stop a lot of damage if you do it when it's high. So make sure to do it when it's high. If they pop cooldowns as well, the enemy, and you know they're attacking your teammate, you can just Aurora Sacrifice them. But I would not recommend most of the time Aurora Sacrificing if they have, like, let's say pain suppression, or they icebound fortitude, or any damage reduction, because you don't normally want to overlap. And the same thing is with like your cooldowns. Like, so for your cooldowns, what you want to do is you want to survival of the fist twice, like second thing rather, and then first thing you want to do, I'm kind of doing this out of order, but feign death first, because that's like a short cooldown, right? And then survival of the fittest second, because that's in the second shortest cooldown. And then if you need to, you can exhilaration. You could even do this first because it is affected by dampening. So exhilaration before dampening kicks in super high, ideally, right? And then if you need to Ross on yourself, you definitely can. I think it's important to like track your DRs. There's a cooldown or an add-on called Diminish, which you can set up. Like I have mine above my my frame here, and it just tells me my stun DRs. Like if I'm fighting a sub rogue and I know like they're going me, and like stun DRs are about to go up, I literally just pre-wall. But if you don't pre-wall, you could always just like Aurora Sacrifice yourself. But pre-walling is definitely like a high skill cap thing that like is pretty important to do. And then like the last thing you can do for like a cooldown is aspect to the turtle, which you're at most gonna have it like 2 times a game, most of the time. But a lot of the games don't even last that long, so make sure to use that last. But don't use it super low. Like let's say you use it like 10%, and like you're fighting assassination rogue, like affliction lock. You're just gonna die, bro. Like you're fully dotted, and 10% is like, yeah, it reduces all the damage you take by 30%. But it's just like you can still take damage if you're dotted, even though you can't take like direct damage. If you're already dotted, you're just gonna die, bro. So just be careful of that. Send it at like 30% or something, 40%. Alright, in the last part of the video, I wanted to do some gameplay, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I stream at twitch.tv/ZinzuTV, and I'm going to show you guys some gameplay, and make sure to like and subscribe if you did enjoy, if you find it helpful. If you need me to make a macro guide, I can do that too. If you have any questions, make sure to leave a comment, and have a good day.